Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the SECO Energy District 9 meeting. Please bear with me as my allergies have chosen today of all days to kick in. So if I fub for a second, please excuse me. It's wonderful to see a crowd here tonight. For those that do not know me, I'm Morgan Hatfield, your District 9 trustee. My husband, Sean McNew, is here with us tonight as well. If you would please stand and join me, Mike Muffett, our District 6 trustee, will lead us in prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Father, thank you for the safe journey that you've given us here tonight. We thank you for all the SECO employees that each day sometimes put themselves in danger that we might have electric in our homes. We just thank you for all the members that are here tonight. We thank you that they're here and being a part of our business meeting tonight. And we just pray that you'd be with the United States of America, that you would draw us and unite us all together. Thank you for the opportunity of us SECO members to be able to join together to have electricity that is always on and able to do all the things that we need to do with it. Thank you for our military. We ask you to watch over them near and far. Now I ask you that you be with us during our meeting today, that you would bless what we do and help us to make the right decisions and say the right things. And we thank you for all that you do and to give us a safe journey home when we leave tonight. We ask this all in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mike. Before I introduce my fellow trustees, I would like to take a moment to thank the SECO Energy employees who are here tonight. It takes a lot of planning and coordination for these meetings to run so smoothly, so let's please give them a round of applause. I would also like to thank you, the members of District 9, for taking the time to come out and attend the meeting. You are why we are here tonight, so thank you. At this time, I would like to introduce the Board of Trustees. Gerald Anderson, our Board President and District 3 Trustee. Scott Boyette, our Board Vice President and District 1 Trustee, and Scott's wife, Rebecca. District 2 Trustee, Joyce Anderson. District 5 Trustee, Shannon Wright. District 6 Trustee, Mike Muffett and his wife, Irene. And District 8 Trustee, Bill James. Our CEO, Curtis Wynn. Our cooperative attorney, Scott Gherkin, who will take the podium in just a moment. At this time, I would like to turn the meeting over to our cooperative attorney, Mr. Gherkin, to be the chairman of the meeting. Mr. Gherkin.
I had to pay him for that, but one thing, our District 7 trustee, Joe Kuziak, is also here as well. Oh, and his bride, she's here as well. Did you wave? Yes. Okay, perfect. Oh, that's okay. Oh, that's quite all right. Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here tonight and an honor to chair your meeting. There are initially three somewhat unexciting but important things to do that I have, I guess as a lawyer, been pledged to do. The first is our bylaws require that we appoint a recording secretary to take minutes of the meeting. And if she is here, there she is, Jerry Helms. I will appoint Jerry Helms if she's willing to do it, and I see she is. Thank you very much. The second is I assume everyone in here has already voted. Is there anybody in here that made a rush to get a cookie or something and didn't bother to vote first? Has everybody voted over there? Are we good? One more. Oh, good. Oh, shoot. Then I'm supposed to stall, I presume, if there's one. Okay. I'll tap dance a little. We'll go on to the next item then. Very good. I'll ad lib. The third item is determination of a quorum for the meeting so that we have a valid election. We are required to have a minimum of 20, so I think we can all determine that we do certainly meet the minimum requirement and we are good to go. And that is a perfect timing with a thumbs up. So everyone has voted, and with that, we will close the voting registration and tally the results. With those things out of the way, I will turn the podium back to our Secretary-Treasurer and your district trustee, Morgan Hatfield, to announce the very impressive list of candidates this evening. So, all right, very good. Let Morgan go ahead.
Joe, I apologize, and his beautiful wife, Carmen. I'm going to blame it on the allergies. Once again, I'm Morgan Hatfield, the Secretary, Treasurer, and District 9 Trustee. It is my responsibility to certify the nominees for Trustee in District 9 in accordance with Article 3, Section G, Paragraph 2 of the bylaws of Sumter Electric Cooperative Incorporated. We only have one member tonight who is certified as nominee for Trustee in District 9, Morgan Hatfield, 42840 Boy Scout Road, Paisley, Florida, 32767. Thank you.
Thank you. Now that we have established our candidate, we'll have to wait a little bit later for the results. Well, I have them here. I haven't looked yet, though. So, now that you have voted, this seems a little backwards, but I have been asked to explain the voting because I think it is worthwhile. You will hear a little bit tonight and may already have heard about one of the reasons why SECO is special. Unlike the investor-owned utilities, where they're publicly owned, and unlike government-owned utilities that serve the public, and they all do a fine job, but SECO is a cooperative, which means that it is owned by the members. You, the members, own the utility, and it is there to serve you. And as a cooperative, the cooperative is divided into 9 districts. And you are in District 9, and each district gets to choose their trustee who will represent them on the Board of Trustees. That's what all of the 9 trustees that sit behind you this evening, and they are the ones that govern the cooperative. There's lots of employees and folks that do the work out there every day that we're very appreciative of, but the trustees themselves who you select are the ones that govern the cooperative. And, in this presidential year where we've just had Iowa and we've had New Hampshire, there's a lot of talk of democracy. Well, this is beautiful. This is democracy in progress. The way it works is one member, one vote. Every member, big or small, gets a vote, and they are tallied up evenly. And then, of course, tonight it's perhaps not as exciting with only one candidate, I'll admit that, but it is good that we've gone through the process and you have chosen the trustee for your district, which we will announce in just a minute, the final results. Before we do that, though, it is my pleasure to introduce the CEO of Sumter Electric, who is going to give you an update on the cooperative and some of the issues that are affecting you as members. When he is done with his comments, there will be a question and answer time where Mr. Wynn and the executive team will be here to ask questions. So if you want to be thinking of your questions while he's talking, please do so, and then you'll have your time to ask those at the end. So with that, if you could please give a round of applause to our CEO, Curtis Wynn. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott, and good evening, everyone. Welcome, and once again, I want to also thank you for joining the SECO Energy team and your fellow members to the District 9 meeting tonight. I'm honored to be here, and it is important for you to be here, and your participation in our district meeting is, as Mr. Gerken just said, is a fundamental part of our cooperative's governance process. For those of you who completed our interactive online survey, we're grateful for you doing that. And we're also thankful for you giving us your feedback. It is a time commitment, and we're thankful for that as well. And we have an opportunity, as Mr. Gerken mentioned, we will have an opportunity for some open discussion when I finish my prepared remarks. And we want to learn in this whole process more about what are your expectations of SECO Energy as your electric provider. I want to thank Mrs. Hatfield for her dedication to her fellow District 9 members and SECO Energy through her service on our Board of Trustees. I don't think she mentioned it, but she is our Secretary-Treasurer of the board, which is added responsibility for being on the board. Special thanks to all of our trustees that are seated behind me. I would love for you, if you don't mind, just collectively give them a round of applause for their service. As your CEO, I can attest that they do have your best interests, the best interests of the membership at heart. They're providing governance and fiduciary oversights, and that gives us all pleasure, that knowing that your neighbors and your friends are also governing and making sure that your cooperative is running properly. Now, did you know that SECO Energy just celebrated its 85th anniversary last year? Did you know that? Formerly known as Sumter Electric Cooperative, the cooperative electrified its first 400 rural members back in November of 1938, down near Webster. See, not-for-profit cooperatives, as Mr. Gerken has mentioned, like SECO, were established as inclusive organizations. We're organizations whose purpose was to electrify the rural homes and farms. Now, these households were underserved by the investor-owned and municipal utilities that were serving the populated towns and cities back in the 30s. And frankly, the investor-owned utilities and municipal utilities of 85 years ago felt like it just wasn't possible, or didn't believe that extending service to the rural areas, the farmlands, would be profitable enough. And it was just too expensive to bring those lines to us in the rural communities. So they chose not to do it. And in just 85 years, the landscape has changed. Our roots are still humble. Our business model has remained stable. And what was once a small rural utility, SECO Energy, has grown to be the third largest electric cooperative in Florida. And we're the seventh largest cooperative in the whole nation. Currently, we serve over 240,000 homes and businesses within this Central Florida service area. And almost 20,000 of those members are right here in your district. Every day, roughly 500,000 consumers depend on us to provide safe, affordable, and reliable electric service to meet their needs. Now, I want to ask you a question. How many of you consider yourself a customer of SECO Energy? Raise your hand. That was a gotcha question. But you are not just a customer. What are you? Member owner. You are not just a customer, you are a member, as we've already explained. There is a difference. I want to explain that to you. As a member, you have a voice in the cooperative governance process, as is evidenced by your participation right here tonight. Cooperative members are eligible to vote for your trustees and who will represent your district. And that is what our SECO Energy Board of Trustees do, just like the dedicated ladies and gentlemen who are behind me, for whom I have the pleasure of working. Now, as a member, you also share in SECO Energy's not-for-profit business model. We talk about not-for-profit. You see, excess margins, some people call it profits. We call it excess margins that remain after we pay all of our bills, are called capital credits. which are assigned proportionately to each active member that patronized SECO Energy during a given year. Now, each year, SECO's board, one of their responsibilities, along with our financial team, we will examine our finances to determine if it is feasible to pay our members a portion of those capital credits that they've accumulated and that we've assigned to those members over the years. Now, over the past decade, last 10 years, SECO Energy has paid over almost $47 million in capital credits to current and former members of this cooperative. Yes, now, those who have moved away from our service territory and the heirs of the estate of our deceased members, they're also eligible to receive capital credits. One of the things we always stress when members move away from the territory is that you leave your current address, your next address, with the cooperative, because we send checks all over this country when people move and get away from the cooperative. So we need to have your current address if you ever decide to move and go some other place. So make sure you spread that word out to your neighbors if you see someone who's moving. Now, customers, as we talked about earlier, customers of investor-owned utilities or municipal utilities, they do not receive these awesome member benefits. And as the saying goes, we could probably say with us that membership does have its privileges and it has its benefits. Now, SECO and the energy industry itself have come a long, long way since 1938. To be successful and to move SECO Energy into the future, our Board of Trustees, our executive leadership team, and we knew that we had to have a clear, focused, and executable strategy. We managed the co-op using a newly developed strategy execution system that is taking SECO into the future. And to keep our strategic direction simple and transparent, open for everybody so that everyone can understand that, we summarize this detailed system into a one-page map. Now, we're in school, so I'm going to ask you to, if you put this up in your bags, to pull it out. So we're going to refer to this quite often during the next few minutes. And go to the back of this document. This is your annual report. On the back of that document is our strategy map. It is what we refer to at the office. It's what the board refers to. And tonight we want to open it up and talk about it with you, the members, because you are a very integral part of this. So we have embraced, if you look on this map at the top, we've embraced a new mission, which is to provide reliable and innovative energy services to you, our members. That's one of the first things you see on this map. Along with that, we also have a new vision. And this is how we see ourselves in the future. We see ourselves at SECO as an organization that is leading the industry in member satisfaction and engagement and being the preferred employer in our region over the next 3 to 5 years. We operate and treat our members within the framework of a set of core values. You see those on your strategy map over to the right. And you see listed at the very front of that list is safety. And we also value member commitment, honesty, integrity, a strong work ethic, an inclusive culture, accountability, and teamwork. Those are our core values. Below those are our 4 perspectives from which we view the work that we do at the cooperative. And underneath those, you see a list of goals that we have put in place to fulfill our mission, our vision, and those core values. If you take a look at that teal section, it is called the people and culture perspective. We work hard to establish a culture that attracts the very best talent that we can find, both here in the region and outside of the region. And that red section is our operational initiatives that we define, where we define the major activities that we must do must focus on to be successful. And then in the green section are the things we must do to keep our rates competitive and remain financially strong. Finally, in the orange section, all of our work is done with a focus on doing what is right for you, the members. The member perspective is what I consider the bottom line. Out of all the work that we do, we strive to have you, our members, to enthusiastically make these 3 statements that you see about SECO Energy. So over the next few minutes, please allow me to highlight a few examples of the efforts that we have underway right now and over the next year or so to demonstrate to you that it is our commitment to have these statements be true statements. Now, this is the first meeting and opportunity that I've had to attend a meeting here in this district, in District 9. And when I took the job as your CEO in December of 2021, one of the board's top priorities was to begin this transition from manually reading meters to an automated system. At the end of 2022, the board approved the implementation of advanced metering infrastructure. It's also known as AMI. AMI is a win for the cooperative, and it is a win for the members. It is one of the most innovative energy services we can provide you. You see, an AMI system will reduce labor costs that we were once paying or still are paying as we transition to stem from physically dispatching technicians to read meters each month. Some of us drove more than an hour to get here, some much longer than that. So the other benefit of this AMI system is that it will help us identify trouble, things like power outages. And when an outage does occur, we already know about it before you can even find our telephone number. So it would also identify other minor service malfunctions that could lead to an outage before the outage occurs. Most importantly, AMI will help us engage directly with you as it provides real insight into your energy use. Through our online account management platform that we call Smart Hub, you can review daily readings in 15-minute intervals. The near real-time readings allow us to provide you updated graphs, charts, and diagrams that provide cost breakdowns for the appliances within your home. You can receive alerts when your energy usage for this month is much higher than it was for last month. The usage breakdowns also allow SECO's team back at the office to help you determine those energy efficiency measures that you can take that will make a real difference in your monthly bill. Today, as we go through this process to get this AMI system completely spread across our system, we're at about just over 65,000 AMI meters have already been installed across our area. And we're working as quickly as possible to bring this technology to all parts of our system. Now, this is one of many efforts that we have on the way that will hopefully get you to agree that SECO Energy helps you manage your energy use. And we're back at the chart again. We're back at our strategy map. Right in the middle, M2, SECO Energy helps you manage your energy use. Now, these advantages are truly just the tip of the iceberg as they relate to more efficient operations for the SECO Energy utility and cost savings for you. Delivering high-impact services is also on your strategy map. It's on the list of organizational initiatives in that red section. Now, we strive to be not just the energy provider for you, but also we want to be your trusted energy advisor. As a not-for-profit organization, reducing costs is high on our list of objectives. And I know that is important to you also. And we can help. SECO developed an online energy efficiency tool that helps you identify the areas in your home that can use an energy savings tune-up. Our online energy assessment is a full energy audit that you can conduct from the comfort of your home. What you do is simply follow the prompts from our online prompted on our website. And we ask you to input information about your home and your lifestyle. You submit those answers to us along with an email address, and we will reply with energy savings advice that is tailored just for you based on your input. Now, online energy savings tools is another one of those that we have. It's called the Energy Estimator. If you want to see the dollars and the cents associated with most of those common household appliances in your home and those electronics, you can complete the Energy Estimator. Basically, what you do is you choose your electronics and appliances, add the number of hours that you think that device is in use and on average, and the estimator will calculate the estimated energy costs for you by the month or by the year. And then you can find both of these tools that I just mentioned on secoenergy.com under the Energy Solutions section of our website. Another topic that is relevant in today's economy is the adoption of member-owned rooftop solar arrays. We hear a lot about that. And as your trusted source of energy solutions, we employ experts at SECO Energy who understand how solar works, they understand its benefits, and they also understand its disadvantages. And we're also there to help you decide if a personal investment in a rooftop solar system is a viable choice for your home or your business. Now, if you're considering solar, please reach out to our team before signing a contract. Why do I say that? This is why. Because we're having conversations currently with many of the 5,500 or so members who have already invested in solar, and they are begrudgingly telling us that their investment in solar is not the money saver they thought it would be, nor is it anywhere close to what they were told before making that investment. Now, solar equipment is expensive. There are no free solar systems out there, regardless of what you might hear through blatantly false advertising. After you add up the cost of the equipment, the finance charges, the financing expense, the maintenance expense, and the energy that you will still have to purchase from SECO Energy, the monthly financial outlay in many cases is greater than the original average utility bill. One more thing. SECO Energy is not selling solar systems. Now, we often get reports from our members saying that someone came by their house and they said that the solar company representative was telling them that SECO Energy sent them by because we didn't have enough power to run our electric co-op. Not true. We have ample power. We don't have any shortage of electricity at SECO Energy. So you heard it from Curtis. That's the real truth. And hopefully you will trust us to help you identify the facts. The facts are what matter, before you allow vendors to convince you to make an unwise investment. Our goal is to get you to agree, as the strategy map says, to get you to agree that SECO Energy is your trusted source of energy solutions. It's on your strategy map. We've got it written down. We want to be that for you. After being in business for 85 years, we get it. We understand. We know what is important to you. What is important to you is keeping the lights on and keeping your rates as low as possible. I can't find anyone who disagrees with that. So speaking of keeping the rates as low as possible, have you noticed on your SECO bill that hot bucks are back? Now, we had a rough spot right after I came here, as a matter of fact. That didn't feel too comfortable coming in as the new CEO and getting rid of hot bucks. But since October, the price of natural gas has stabilized, and we can once again credit your electric bills in the form of hot bucks. And this is due to the lower cost of natural gas, which is the primary fuel that Seminole Electric Cooperative, the cooperative from which we buy our power, uses to serve you. Now, how many things, I got another question. This is not a trick question. How many things can you buy today that cost less today than it cost you 5 years ago? Don't tell me what it is. Just raise your hand if you can think of one. Well, I don't need to go to two, do I? I was prepared. But there is at least one thing. When you look back in time, it remains true that SECO Energy and electricity as a whole are a good value for your dollars. Now, when we look at the reapplication of hot bucks that we just did, SECO members today are paying less per 1,000 kilowatt hours of electricity than you paid or would have paid 5 years ago in January of 2019. So maybe there's one thing that you're paying less today for than you paid 5 years ago. Now, in the business, and I've been in this business a long time, I'll attest that we love acronyms. And in the energy industry, we have a few of those. But there are 3 acronyms I want you to indulge me to allow me to explain to you over the next minute or two. I want to share these with you, and the acronym I want to talk to you about are all acronyms that measure how well we're keeping the lights on. They are SAIDI, SAFE, and CAIDI. SAIDI measures the duration in the number of minutes an average electric cooperative member is without power, or a consumer for the other utilities is without power each year. The most recent national averages show that in 2021, customers were out of power almost, on average, 500 minutes in a year. Now, our chief operating officer, where's John LaSelva? There he is, back there. He, our entire team for that matter, and our board are proud to report that in comparison, SECO members were out of power for only an average of 64 minutes during that same time frame. 64, 500. You can do the comparisons. Our next acronym is SAFE, which measures the frequency of electric interruptions per year. In 2021, the average SECO member experienced an outage only 1.2 times compared to 1.43 times annually with the other utilities. So we were less on that as well. Last year, in 2023, for the first time, and we believe in our history, that that number of SAFE was less than 1 hour, or one time per year that our members were out of power. Less than one time. The third reliability acronym is CAIDI, which measures the number of minutes it takes to restore a power outage after we've been notified about it. In 2021, SECO Energy's CAIDI measurement was 53 minutes compared to the national time of 331 minutes. So you can do the comparison again. Less than an hour versus almost or over 5 hours. SECO, the rest of the industry. And that is the national average we're comparing against. Now, through these measurements, SECO ranks best in class as it relates to reliability. We have maintained these comparisons for years, especially this last year in 2023. Now, you may be asking, how did you get those stellar reliability numbers? How did you do it? Well, I'm glad you asked. The keys are maintenance, ongoing investments in our electric infrastructure. Our engineering and operations team follows a routine maintenance and inspection cycle that includes our substations, our poles, overhead and underground equipment. All of those are inspected on a regular basis. Yearly, our investment in vegetation management allows us to proactively trim those trees away from the hundreds of miles of overhead power lines and remove those weak or dying limbs or trees that would otherwise fall on the lines and cause outages for you. That is a portion of the secret sauce that our team uses. With the best-in-class reliability numbers that I've shared, combined with the lower than usual electric rates, once again, I hope you can agree that SECO Energy is reliable and a good value. Whenever you develop a strategy, as we've done at SECO, it is important to know, what does success look like? At SECO, we will know we've been successful when our members, you, are enthusiastically making these three statements about your electric cooperative. And these three statements, again, are at the bottom of your strategy map. Hopefully, during my comments that I've given you this evening, that I have shared enough examples to get you to join me in saying what is printed at the bottom of our strategy map. You still got them? At the back, strategy map. What are those three statements? The first one, M1. Thank you. Let's do it again. SECO Energy is. What's the second one? SECO Energy. The last one, SECO Energy. We want you to be able to enthusiastically say that to anyone who asks you about SECO. And it's not what we think is important, but most importantly, it is what you think about our service and what that matters the most to us. And folks, that is the bottom line. That's what matters. So I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for participating. We're going to transition now to our conversation. But while you were waiting for our business meeting to start, I hope you had a chance to visit with our teams in the back, the folks outside, if you had conversations with them, and to learn more about things like electric vehicles, energy efficiency, our surge protection program, and Smart Hub. If you have follow-up questions, we want to spend some time this evening trying to answer those. And if you have something that comes up later after the meeting, feel free to email us at customerservice@secoenergy.com or just give us a call. We're always there for you. And it's already been mentioned, and we can never do this too much, our employees should be commended for their commitment to providing you with reliable and innovative services and keeping member satisfaction at the top of our list of priorities. So if you don't mind, let's give them another round of applause. I'm going to ask our executive team to come up, and I will introduce them as they come towards the front. We're going to ask them to help and assist me with some of the questions that you might have. If you guys want to just come up across the front. So I'll introduce them. First is John LaSelva, our Chief Operating Officer. I mentioned him earlier. Next is Greg Morrell, our Chief Corporate Services Officer. Ann Reynolds, our Vice President of Financial and Administrative Services. Ben Dawson, our Vice President of Growth, Smart Grid, and Operational Technology. Ben has the longest title. He gets the longest title award. And last but not least, two other young ladies, our Vice President and Corporate General Counsel, Tracy DeLimos, and who was mentioned earlier, we're not going to put her on the spot this afternoon, but we're going to put her on the spot, Jerry Helms, our Executive Administrator for the CEO and the board. So we have microphones ready. We're ready. We want to have a conversation with you. If you got questions about anything we've talked about or something we may not have talked about, would you come up to the mic and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Deborah Contreras. I live in Mrs. Hatfield's district, and they're putting fiber optics. Their company is coming through, and I wondered if you had anything to talk about that. You know, should we do that, or what? Does that even have anything to do with you?
Well, actually, it's not involving us with the fiber optics that I'm aware of. Unless, okay, I think this is for you to have better broadband service. And depending on your need for or desire to have broadband, that's.
I just don't know anything about it. Is everybody doing that? Is that a good way to go? We're all doing it?
So a little bit out of our wheelhouse, but appreciate you asking that question. Yes, sir, if you don't mind coming to either of the mics, please.
Thank you guys for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Hi, hello. My name is David. I live in Mount Dora. I just want to ask, with your surplus of money, if you have it, how do you reimburse members with that money?
Sure.
I never seen it.
Ann is going to answer that question, our Vice President
Certainly.
of Finance.
So how long have you been a member?
5?
5 years, okay. So we will assess, the board will assess and approve capital credits to be retired. So every year, we actually allocate all of our margins in excess, or patronage capital is what we call it on our financials. And so when the board approves it, we will actually retire those allocated capital credits. You'll typically see them, if you're an active member, as a credit on your bill. So many of you have probably seen that credit on the bill. And if you are not an active member, typically you'd see it as a check. Those are typically sent out somewhere around November.
What is
Of
the
each
difference
year.
between an active member and a non-active
So an
member?
active member is being provided service
Oh, okay.
currently, and then a not active member would be one that has left
Moved out.
our area. Yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for that question. Very good question.
Hi, my name is Jim Davison, Mount Dora, and mine is more of a techie question because it sounds like with some of the new innovations and some of the gathering of data and the shock surge protectors we get on the homes, what are your thoughts on some of the, since some of the infrastructure tends to be older and many of the transformers sometimes get changed out or maintained, what are your thoughts on some of these new natural ester oils, the natural oils from soybeans and some of those for the change out that supposedly give you more efficiency and better usage, longer life of the transformers? Are you looking at some of those type of technologies too? Sorry for the real techie question to the rest of the group.
It's on. So Ann is saying it's not hers, so it's mine. Okay, so we currently use mineral oil in our transformers, so it is very cost effective. We don't have we have very few that have PCB that are very old. So, but all of our new transformers are mineral oil. We've used some soy oil. We haven't had good luck with them, and they're very expensive. So one of our responsibilities too is to maintain cost. And so right now we're mineral oil. So we're mineral oil.
Okay.
So that if it spills in your neighborhood, it minimal contamination to your wells.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Is that okay, Ann? Did I do all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, how are you? My name's Kristen Henderson. I live up the road, right across from the Ocala National Forest in the Fullerville subdivision. We are backwoodzies, and we have a lot of animals out there. And I noticed a couple of years ago, you guys came out and, well, not you guys, but you had a third party come out and spray our trees to kind of get rid of them, and they all turned orange. I personally have honeybees on my property, and I lost a hive when that happened. So I called, and I wanted to know exactly what the spray contained to make sure that I'm not polluting my animals or my farm animals, because I also cut those trees and give them to my animals to eat. Is there any way that we can get more information on that? Especially, it's not just me, there's other people up the road who have like 50 head of cattle. I don't want to either. Yes.
John,
See me after. I'll get your address.
Okay.
We'll get you the information.
Yeah, every time my dad, he'll actually, because he lives with us, he'll actually run outside and be like, don't you spray that
Yeah,
stuff, I thought it'll kill you.
So you can be put on a do not spray list.
Okay, yeah, I've caught the guy
Okay.
just about every time he's been out there.
No, but we could put you
we cut
on
our
one
trees too,
where you don't
so-
have to catch them.
Okay,
Now, trimming trees, that's a whole different thing.
Right.
If they pose a reliability issue or a safety issue,
Right.
then we meet with you and work out, try to remove or trim the trees back.
Okay.
But as far as spraying, we do that all the time. So
Okay, perfect.
see me after, don't go away, and give me the address. And ma'am, I see you want to too, I can do that too, okay?
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Ron Cleary. I'm in the Royal Trails. I know we have a lot of complaints about SECO getting in there and taking out a lot of trees on people's properties. I personally helped one person put up a new tree that you come back and put in, or you set it on the ground, and we put it back up in the ground. How are these people notified that they're gonna have these trees and that taken on out? Nobody's told until after the fact. So who's responsible for
Yeah,
all
I
that?
am. I am. And I'm going to disagree with you some on Royal Trails, okay? SECO has reached out to the Homeowners Association a number of times.
I'm on the board, too.
And so if you're on the board, then you should know that we've reached out to you. Tracy Scotto, who is the manager of that group, has reached out to Royal Trails. We are planners, which some are out in the parking lot right now, knock on all the doors, both contractors and SECO, before we cut a tree. So we knock on the doors and ask for permission. If you don't give us permission, then we escalate it and somebody else comes out, correct? And then if it's a danger to you or the public and it's in our lines, we have a legal responsibility to trim that tree back so that you don't get injured and no one else does. Now, if you want,
The ones you did take down, you realized that you did cover it up and you did come back and put some trees back in.
well, that's called the tree replacement program. Okay, so from when people agree, so I'll just use Greg here. Greg would agree for SECO to remove some trees. And Greg then would ask, hey, could you give me some replacements for those trees? And we work that out with Greg, and we provide him replacements as long as they do not plant them under the lines or in proximity to the lines. So we give them a agreement. It's an integrity issue We don't go back and check where they planted them until we come back 3 years later to see where they are and where they're growing. But we will give replacements, and they agree to not plant them under the lines. So, yes, sir? Yes, sir?
Second question,
Yes, sir?
on the map, it shows the different districts.
Yes, sir.
The white area, what's that mean? It's not SECO?
That's not covered by SECO.
So, how are those small areas surrounded by SECO? That wasn't working.
I don't know if I can answer the
The white
territory.
area shows that's not SECO, but it seems like a large portion is surrounded by the white areas. So what is that, different power companies?
That's correct.
Correct.
How
So
do they squeeze in?
So that's Duke, that's next to you. So Royal Trails, part of it's Duke, part of it's SECO.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
I am interested in finding out when we're going to get the new meters, the smart meters. I live in Tavares. I use the website all the time. I'm a nerd and I have too much time on my hands. And I love to compare my costs and such. I had to replace the whole AC unit with a new one. And it's awesome to see how much I'm saving. I'd have to live to 1,000 to pay for the new unit, but still my monthly bills are lower. And I came from Sarasota like 3 years ago, and we had the smart meters, and you could see what you're doing like daily. And one of my questions is, it's general and it's probably hard to answer, but I live in a mobile home, and it's really a double wide, and it's like out, and it's really windy. When it's cold, the wind just blows right through it. So I often just go in the smallest room in the bedroom and watch TV in there when it's really cold. Is it more efficient to run, even though it's a new AC unit with the heat pump? Or I have one of the little electric oil radiators that you just plug in, and it heats up really fast and it doesn't run all the time. So I'm hoping that when we get the new meters, I can tell the difference of when I'm running that and when I'm not. So I'm really curious of when we'll be getting them.
I can get your name and number afterwards and to you specifically, but on our website, there is an AMI map, deployment map, and you can go to there, put your address in, and it'll tell you when we are planned on being in
Oh,
the
okay, I
area.
haven't seen that yet. I will look. The website, I think, is really helpful, and I really enjoy it. It's got good information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good questions. We do appreciate the interaction and the questions that you've provided us. We don't want to hold you here all night if you don't have questions, but if you think of something when we leave, just give us a call and we'll be very responsive about getting back in touch with you. Last call for questions. One more.
Sherry Golden, District 9, Oklawaha. This doesn't really apply to me, however, a lot of people live in mobile homes, and I understand that they're responsible for the pole and the line out the main line. As far as safety with trimming the trees over the lines, I'm curious if anyone ever notices or looks at individuals' poles, the people that are responsible for them, mobile homes, for instance, disabled people, that may never think to check that.
So there's two things, okay, that I'll try to decode what you're saying in two things, okay? The first is when Ben's team is replacing the manual meters with AMI, they inspect the facilities when they do it then, okay? When we're tree trimming the service drop, we try to keep the trees 5 feet away from the line, and that's it. But the tree trimmers do not inspect your facilities. All they do is keep the trees away from the service wire, not your facilities.
I was just curious.
Yes. Good question. We just don't. That's yours. Yes, ma'am.
Change out when they see the line going underground, if they pull it down there. I don't understand. You have a pole out front that they're responsible for? You guys have a pole that's out front that you're responsible for on the easement, right? but then you have a line that goes back to the mobile home, right?
Correct.
Too short for this, so I hope you guys can hear me. Well, I put mine underground.
Yes.
And so I don't have that many. I live in a mobile home. I live a quarter mile down a private road. There's nobody lives around me. And I take care of the road myself. But they will come down and check those lines. So I put mine underground. They recommended I put it underground. I don't have that. I guess it's a secondary pole that they're talking about.
Correct.
Up by the house.
No, they have a service pole by their,
A service pole
they
by
have
the
a
house.
service.
I got rid of that. So they have all the responsibility, and I don't. Okay? That's an idea.
That's, just to be clear, that's not free. Okay, so you have to pay for the underground service. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that's not for free. Yeah, so you have to decide, clearly that's a you decision, whether you can mount the meter can on your house or not, and whether you want to run an underground service to it, or to a separate pole. That's your call.
And I guess it might mean be wherever they live as well. I mean, I'm on my own property.
No, it does, we can do it wherever the service is.
Second thing,
Yes.
we talk about, and I'm being touted all this electric vehicle, okay? When you still have to plug it in, it still takes electric. So we're still paying for that electric, for that wonderful electric vehicle. So what is the big bonus for the consumer using an electric vehicle? I want hydrogen. When is that coming? But we want electric. We still have
A spaceship.
fuel that runs through. We still have to get that stuff. Where is all that coming from? Why is electric so much better? Just because we're not using a fossil fuel?
I think it's a personal choice, and our role is really to, if it's your choice, to have an electric vehicle to make it as affordable as possible. We're not really saying.
It sound like it with the, because there's the EV, talk about another acronym, EV. I see that everywhere, including on SECO stuff. And I just want to know what makes it so much better. We still have to pay for that.
I think it's sort of just a choice, and you probably would have to talk to an EV owner who has one to let them give your perspective, or their perspective to you. Let me get that out right. But everybody has a different perspective about how they feel about electric vehicles. So we're here to provide a service if that is your choice, and we'll make sure that that's as feasible as possible for you. Yes. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned about the solar panels having, I think, 2 pluses and 1 negative. So what would be the negative?
Well, the cost of it has to be evaluated, and I think what we see and what we hear in the office is that people are telling them up front that if you get solar panels, you don't have to pay an electric bill. That's not true.
No, I have solar. I know it's not true.
And that we don't want, and all too often, if you don't get rid of your electric bill, you go back and say, well, I didn't get rid of my electric bill. And the folks who sold you the first set of panels would say, we probably need some more panels. And that might get rid of your electric bill, but we don't want members to be under the impression that solar is going to do away with your electric bill. That's the biggest thing that we hear a lot of, is that we were told that we would no longer have an electric bill. And then they're mad at us because they still have an electric bill. We didn't tell them that they were not going to have an electric bill.
That's true. They do make it to sound like your electric meter is running backwards, which when we had the old ones, you could see it running backwards. But I have never had a 0 electric bill.
Right.
It has been lower, yes, but never 0.
Our only advice is that we have professionals, folks who we have within our organization who could sit down with you and give you the facts about what it might do for you. That's all we're asking, is that take that time. If you're considering it, at least sit down and talk with us about it before you make that investment.
Thank you. I was also wondering, you hear about oh, if you run your dryer at midnight, it's cheaper. Or if you do this, it's cheaper this time. Is that true?
I'm going to ask Ann to, we can give her 2 mics to answer that one question.
Okay, so there's a possibility. So with AMI, you do have the opportunity to have a time of use rate. That time of use rate essentially says that there's a certain period of time where it's peak, where it's the most expensive, and then there's a super off-peak where it's the least expensive. And so if you want to do your laundry or vacuum your house at 3 a.m., you would probably be saving a little bit of money. Now, it does come in handy with EV owner, right? An EV owner who is not, it's not a plug for EV now, it's personal choice. But if, EVs usually charge at night. And so, if you chose to charge at night instead of during the day, then that would be less expensive for you. But, the AMI metering in conjunction with a time of use rate would help you manage those costs.
Thank you. I'd always heard that. I didn't know if it was a myth. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have one more quick question. I live in a really small mobile home park, and it's just one street, and so the property is all owned by the park. And they decided to change the street name, and that's been a whole nightmare. But anyway, you guys do maintain the wires and the poles in the park, right? Just not the poles at our house?
Get the address because it may be owned by the park. So I'll have to get your address and find out.
So if it's
So
owned
some
by the park and there's the really old poles and old wires,
That's the park.
they would have to fix it?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Lord, I'm moving. We have new owners, and they just raise the price of everything, and they won't fix anything, and it's turning into a nightmare. Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name's Madeline. I live in District 9 in that little tiny green section by Eustis. I have a question for Ben. I'm surrounded by Duke people. How do you guys plan on taking over Duke? And once...
That's a me question.
It's a big question.
I've been with SECO 24 years. That has been my goal from day one.
I thought he was
We
the
can't
growth
say
guy. Once that's accomplished, do you see a rise in cost of energy since you won't have competition?
Oh, no, we can't take that over. So,
John was kidding.
Yes, I'm joking.
He does wish that would happen.
I do.
Yeah.
It's, I would say, nearly impossible for us to really take over Duke's territory.
Yeah.
Sometimes we will put our heads together and say, well, it's better for you to serve this section than this is Duke and SECO having this conversation, so we'll agree.
Okay.
But outside of that, it's highly unlikely that we would be able to take over their territory.
Okay. Is there a reason for that, or it's just, I live kind of close to where their plant is, so
Yeah,
I get it?
They're not going to give it up without a big fight, and we don't want
Okay.
to. They're a little bit bigger than us, too, so.
Okay. A little bit.
A little bit. But we're tough. But not that tough.
All right, well, keep putting up the fight, I guess.
This has been great. Thank you for the questions. Unless there are others, I want to just make a couple of announcements. Many of you have completed our online survey. We called it the Front Porch Forum, but it was a forum where we asked you to be a part of that. I want to thank you again for participating. As you know, through that online survey for District 9, each of you who attended tonight in the meeting, you are eligible for additional incentives, and you'll be look out for your electric bill, or actually on your account. We will be offering or putting a credit on your bill if you were a part of that group. And then we'll also have lucky winners of our drawing for door prizes, as we typically do, and those will be bill credits as well. Thanks again for showing up. We appreciate you coming out again and being a part of our meeting, and it's the moment that you've been waiting for to see who your next district representative is going to be. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Nguyen. Before we get to that moment, a few things. This is beautiful. Having this sort of turnout tonight is the kind of thing that'll make the cooperative better, and it reflects well on your community, makes your community better, and frankly, makes the country a better place. If we had more of this would be a better world and a better country. Secondly, I would like to again thank the SECO employees for tirelessly all the work that they do, and it is deserving of another round of applause, if you wouldn't mind doing that, please. And finally, I would like to thank Ms. Hatfield for putting her name in the ring again as a candidate, and I have the results here this evening. This is all very official. Well, I am happy to announce that you have re-elected Morgan Hatfield as your District 9 trustee. Congratulations, Ms. Hatfield. And that is for another 3-year term. With that, unless there's anything else, we are ready to adjourn. Do I have a motion to that effect? A motion? Do I have a second? A second? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.